Following, Graham Davies will introduce us to Ishinoko Kitchen. Graham is a designer and producer of creative projects, and Ishinoko Kitchen is a food-based education and tourism project rooted in the rural village of Takigahara in Ishikawa. It brings together local producers, foragers, hunters, and chefs from around the world to explore Japan's seasonal ingredients and food culture through immersive programs.
Thank you very much, and yes, thank you everyone for having me, particularly to Megumi for inviting me and everyone involved in this project. It's been so amazing to hear, yeah, at the macro level, what's happening in Italy and Japan and the kind of crossovers. I have to say, I have real imposter syndrome here because I'm coming really at it from, yes, I live in a small village, kind of similar to how Kana mentioned, and my project is about 1 year old. So this project is just going to be sharing about what we're trying to achieve and as a little case study of rural connections to Japan, and I'm hoping that maybe afterwards, please ask me some questions and give me some feedback, because that would be really great. Yes, so Ishinoko Kitchen, I've written here, food as a tool for educational experiences. Oh, okay, fancy. So just as an overview, I'm just going to share about the background of this project in the location and how it came about, how we took it from basically what started as a community festival and grew it out into now what is an annual food program, and then giving in a bit more detail about what the actual programs that we have throughout the year, and then sharing a little bit about the business model and the challenges and the way we try to incorporate it and bring it all together. Yes, so our background, this is the mountain immediately behind the village that I live at. I often would hike. And the founders are myself, Graham, and Anna, who can't join us today. She's Danish, I'm British, and we both moved to Takigahara about 5 years ago. It's a small village. I'll explain a little bit more in detail. Anna is really in head of the curriculum and academic side of a program that we do. She has a background in food projects, working around the world, the Edible Schoolyard. She worked at a farmer's market in Tokyo. She was interning at Slow Foods International. So she really comes with the kind of academic connection. And then I'm just living in the village and working as a person to try and bring it all together and connect the kind of producers and people together with it. Yes, so what is Ishinoko Kitchen? It's a food-based educational project. I hadn't really considered it so touristy up until now, but within the context of a day and the talk session, I kind of started to unravel it a little bit around that. But our main activities include chef residencies, study tours, organizing community dinners with the local community, kind of foraging retreats, producers visits. Honestly, hearing Kana speak, I felt very many similarities. And I would say the main focus here with me is more on food and the terroir and the ingredients, essentially. So the location of Ishinoko Kitchen is kind of in the Hokuriku region of Japan, so sort of in between Osaka and Tokyo, in Ishikawa prefecture, based in the village of Takigahara, but we spread out our activities kind of around the Hokuriku area. I kind of call it the Goldilocks area of Japan. This is a kind of not so technical term, but I find that it's just far north enough to get the kind of northern, the food culture that you would maybe associate with the north, as well as just being just south enough to kind of have this really nice balance, as well as having Hakusan, one of the, a very tall mountain leading directly into the sea. You get a very good balance of ingredients, and it's very a flourishing place for produce and producers. Yes, so this is Ishikawa prefecture, mostly known for Kanazawa city, which is quite touristy and is potentially becoming slowly more and more over touristy. But the specific location that I'm in is Takigahara and Takigahara Farm. This is a little introduction to the project there. There's a kind of a hostel accommodation place that when I first visited, I stayed at here. And then I kind of never left. So I've lived in this village. I'm not in the hostel. I have my own house there now. But this was the kind of gateway to me there. This is also an interesting project that I would encourage you to check out. It's basically the rebuilding of an old farmhouse in the Japanese countryside as a hostel to allow visitors to come. And specifically, the work that I've been doing in the village is organizing this festival called Ishinoko Festival. This is a festival that combines the local villagers. It's a very much aging population, as Megumi explained, is happening in Japan. I think the average age is over 69 or so in the village itself. So the matsuri that used to exist in the village is no longer there. All of these kinds of things. And so this festival is a collaboration with the local community to bring together something special there for the community, and it's very much focused on food and music and arts. It's kind of an arts festival for the village. Yes, so that's a little bit about the background. Moving into Ishinoko Kitchen. This is kind of related, I think, to a lot to what Megumi and Kano were saying. For us, the most important people are the producers. They are the community, and they are the teachers for us. We are not the teachers. We just aim to connect these people that we believe have such strong passion for the food and such deep knowledge of the local area and the skills and ability and tradition passed down through the years to produce some really great tasting food. These are our producers, and we really respect them and want to try and produce the program with putting them first. And I wanted to explain a little bit, okay, so with producers, there's lots of different types of producers. And I know Slow Foods has, slow, good, clean, fair, these kinds of things with values. There was farmers first. There's different ways to do it. I just tried to list out here the kind of things that we felt were really important about the producers that we involve in the project. But essentially, it's about community, it's about co-creation, it's about curiosity is really, really important to us. And within that, yes, we have producers that we would break down into kind of primary producers, the people who are actually going out, saying, hunting in the forest, working, diving in the ocean, going out and foraging or growing vegetables. Kind of secondary producers who would be fermenting, making sakes or traditional. Ishikawa has a very rich fermentation food culture there of fermented fishes. And things, and then finally the restaurants or the locations of cuisine, the people who take these products and then serve it as food. So just to give you an idea of who are the kind of people that we work with, Ishinoko Kitchen, an example of a primary producer would be Miwa-san. So she is Ama-san. She grew up in Fukui, moved to Tokyo, and then moved back because she wanted to reconnect with the heritage of the Ama-san tradition in Fukui. I'm not sure if you know about it. It's the tradition of female divers that go back hundreds of years in Japan. And so she works tirelessly, basically, to try and not only preserve this tradition, but also produce the best tasting seaweed that she can and all sorts of things that the sea has to offer. And then Higashi-san Brewery, it's a sake brewery, very, very small scale brewery, again, focused on using all local ingredients in Ishikawa, very limited scale production, so they only sell in Ishikawa. And so, yeah, you can't get it outside of there. That would be an example of a secondary one. And then the tertiary producer would be, for example, Nimaida-san, a sushi chef, who we work very closely with, who's very knowledgeable, has worked his entire life in the fishing industry and also as a sushi chef, and is very curious and passionate to share that and pass that on with people. So with these producers that are in this such amazing area, what kind of programs, what kind of things that we do? So when we go into the kind of teaching methods, and this is why, when I introduced, is it tourism, is it education? I'm still not exactly sure. It kind of feels in between the two for me, but it's really about education, and we really emphasize, I think as Kano was saying, the people who are coming, money can't buy these experiences. There has to be an exchange of value that the producer can also feel, that goes beyond monetary value. So this kind of idea of curiosity being really, really important from the visitor, from the student, and a willingness to learn and create their own learning experience. And in addition to that, then field-based education, so actually being out in the field, not lecture theatres. You can probably tell that I'm not so comfortable in these kinds of environments. I'm more out in the field, working in those kinds of places, and creating the own experience for learning. So it would be these kinds of experiences of going into the forest and learning about doing some mushroom foraging in the mountains of Hakusan. It would be, for example, as I mentioned with Miwa-san, she has to process huge amounts of wakame, which she does by hand, very intricately when it comes to this season of processing seaweed, and she would appreciate some help with that. So it's a way of connecting people so that she can get a little bit of help with her produce, and outsiders can get an insight into how it's operating. It would be like coming into this sushi restaurant and getting to learn how to make sushi from a sushi master. And these kinds of community dinners where visiting chefs will come and have the opportunity to learn about the local ingredients and the local terroir, and then produce that as a community meal that the local community can come in, and that can be local producers, and eaters can come and enjoy that in maybe new ways that they hadn't experienced. Yes, so this is kind of an overview in the programs. I'm running out of time, so I'll just keep it moving. These are the kind of examples of programs that we've engaged in. So we hosted the study trip for UNISC, the Slow Foods University, last year, and we will do so again this year. So this was a 10-day study trip, mostly in Ishikawa Prefecture. We also spent some time in Tokyo, and we traveled around. This was where we had the experience with the sushi. We do the festival program. So we have a kind of rotating kitchen of chefs coming in using only local ingredients. So all of the ingredients that are used in this kitchen are sourced within, the 10, 15 kilometers of the festival. And we just have a revolving kitchen throughout 3 days with 1,500 festival goers, with the idea of if people can come, meet the producers at the kitchen, the chefs can cook things up in new ways. It's just a really beautiful space for new conversations and new ideas to come about. Then we'd have visiting chefs coming and cooking community dinners. Cignale, actually, an Italian word. I think it means inoshishi, wild boar. It's a restaurant in Tokyo. They had some chefs that wanted to come and learn about the local cuisine, or local ingredients. So they were actually Japanese. It's not all just foreign, is the point I want to make here. It's not all just foreign visitors. It's Japanese people too, also because when being in Tokyo, you do need to have the access to these local producers. And then it would be organizing things like chef residencies or kind of retreat-based things centered around the accommodation. Yes, okay, I'm running out of time, but I will just try and wrap up very quickly. This is a kind of mapping overview of the kind of people that we aim to bring together. So as I mentioned, the producers are really key to us here, and then the students. So this is where I've written tourists in inverted commas, but we really like to see them as students, as part of an educational program with this kind of value exchange that goes beyond money. And then this is just a little bit about our funding. We rely heavily on kind of grant funding to make all of this work. And we do kind of like tailor-made solutions for companies that might come and visit. And we aim to use that to basically keep the operations of this running. Future development. We would like to have a regular program or a regular curriculum, potentially a school that would be running. Regular meals, maybe a restaurant where producers can share their ingredients with the community. We're working on a documentary project. I have a book here that maybe I can show afterwards. These are kind of archival projects that we're working on, and essentially expanding collaboration within Japan. Yes, many challenges. But the vision is building this kind of framework to connect the local producers and local community together with visitors and outside in a way that co-creates and adds value, that generates something that's that can go beyond just pure monetary exchange, essentially. Yes, so thank you very much for listening.